Hello, my name is Brittany and welcome to Family Fridays Paint Night. Thank you for your continued interest and support for this workshop. If you missed the last video back in April, I made an announcement that we have returned to in-person workshops. Woohoo! It's been absolutely wonderful to see so many familiar faces and to catch up. Just for reference, the only times a video may take the place of a class on either the first or third Friday of the month is if there is a holiday or if I have something happening in my personal life. There should be very few scheduling conflicts in the future, and we will definitely let you know in advance. Don't forget to check out our calendar to see what classes we are currently offering in person and which ones are virtual. I'll leave the link to our virtual calendar in the description box below. As a reminder, my class was made to promote bonding between family and friends. You do not need to be an artist to enjoy art. My art isn't perfect, so don't think yours needs to be either. To all those participating in this activity, I want you to try your best and don't worry about the outcome. My hope is for you to let go, get lost in the artistic process, and forget about what's currently happening in the world, even just for a little bit. One last thing before we begin. Feel free to pause, rewind, fast forward, mute, or do anything you need in order to follow along with this video. I normally take over 3 hours to complete a painting, even though my class runs about 2.5 hours. For the sake of time and to make a short video, the clips you see of me painting are sped up significantly. Please, by all means, relax and take your time. I hope you enjoy. Let's get started. Here is what we will be painting for July of 2022. Disclaimer, this is my interpretation of the original artwork I found somewhere on the internet. I do not take credit for this concept, and I wish I could find the original artist to give credit. Think of this as a study of the original artwork. In celebration of the 4th of July holiday happening in just a few days, here we have a patriotic lawn gnome celebrating with a sparkler in hand under a beautiful display of colorful fireworks. Feel free to take artistic control, change the colors, make additions or adjustments, or change it up completely. The choice is yours. Alright, let's talk about paint. We'll be using acrylic paint for this activity. You can use the fancier, more expensive paints if you want to. For this project, I'll be using paints you can find at your local craft store or even Walmart that are less than $1. We'll need a few colors: red, yellow, blue, a darker blue, black, white, and peach. We'll need a few brushes today: a large flat brush, a medium flat brush, a small flat brush, a medium round brush, and a thin detail brush. Some other materials we will need: something to put under the canvas or canvas board, such as a tablecloth or newspaper. You can also use a mat board or a foam board like this one I've used several times. You can easily find these reusable boards in any craft area. Of course, you'll need something to paint on. I personally will be using a canvas board, 12 by 16 specifically. You can also use an actual canvas of any size as well. Then we have our paints. You'll need a plate to put the paint on. You can also use a palette if you have one, a water cup to clean your paintbrushes, and lastly, a paper towel or an old towel. I'm using an old towel that I have used for other paintings, as you can see here. Okay, order of operations how this painting will go. First, we will paint the entire canvas black, and that is serving as our background. Actually, at this point in time, if you wanted to do our little flicking motion and add little tiny stars in the background, now would be your time. That is optional. I didn't do it on this one, but once we do our next session in person, I probably will do that. After we do the stars, we will first sketch out the nose of the gnome, and it's going to be just a little bit below center. After we do the nose, we will start off with the hat, first that brim and then the rest of the top hat. After we sketch out the hat, we will sketch out roughly where the beard will go. After the beard, we will sketch out the arms and legs of the gnome, followed by the stripes of the hat. Now we will finally start to add color. First, we're going to go in with the blue on that ribbon of the hat and the hands and feet. Then we'll go in with the red with the brim, the body, and the stripes. After the red, we will go in with white for those other stripes and then the beard. After that stripe, we'll do the nose. After that, we'll do the sparkler. We'll do a first layer of white for the fireworks, and then the colors of the fireworks, followed by their little trails. Alright, let's get to painting. So first I'm getting my plate and then I'm pouring out some black. Then with my large detail brush, I'm simply just going to paint the whole canvas black. And with a black canvas, and when we're putting a picture on top, especially colors that are light, such as the white and yellow, it may require you to do a couple layers of those colors. So if you want to, you can sketch out your gnome in just a regular color pencil, or just a regular pencil on top of the white canvas, and then you can just paint around that image. So you can paint the black around what you just drew, just so you don't have to do many layers. But I'm not doing that this time, so I'm going to be painting my canvas black, and I'm actually going to do a second coat of that off camera. So right now we're just painting that. Take your time. If you need to do 2 layers, that is great. Also, don't forget, before we start sketching, after you do your first layer of black or your second one, whichever you want, if you want to add those stars, doing that upwards flicking motion, now would be the time before we sketch out everything, because we don't want to add all of those speckles when our picture is already painted, and then it'll mess up everything. So if you want to do that, now would be the time. Alright, so off camera, I already let my second layer of black dry, so now with a white color pencil, or you can use chalk or a regular pencil, I'm going to sketch out the nose. So my nose is just a little bit below halfway of the canvas, so a little bit off center, and I'm doing just a nice generous oval shape. And after I do some of these other sketches, I may erase some of my pencil marks just by painting it black again. So you'll probably see that from one clip to the next, my lines get erased. So that's what I'm doing. So now I'm going to start off with the brim of the hat. So almost at the top of the nose, I'm just going to do a nice little curved line for the brim, probably about like an inch and a half thick. And then from there, I'm just going to go, again, just like an inch and a half from that outside line, and just do a nice little angled line for that top hat. And I'm doing a nice little angle here. I'm doing the exact same thing on the other side. And I did a first line. I didn't like how my angle was, so I just evened it out a little bit. And then eventually I didn't like how tall my hat was, because I still needed some room for the fireworks. So I just shaved it off a little bit, and then to cover up those lines, I just painted it black. No big deal. So now we're gonna go ahead and do the beard of the gnome. So I'm just kind of doing a nice little curved line on the left side, and the right side going just a little bit beyond that, just, you know, looking like hair. So I'm trying to mimic that, making it a little bit more shaggy. And then I'm just doing some nice little oval shapes for the hands and feet, or the arms and legs. So I'm doing the hands right now, almost the size of the nose, just flipped the other way. And then for the feet, just little circles. They're kind of going off of the page, like the gnome is either standing or sitting. And then to connect the body, I'm making it slightly curved, not just straight down, but it has a little curve for the body. Okay, so right above the brim of the hat, I am basically just going to make a place for a blue ribbon to go, and it's basically the same thickness of that brim. And here you can see me just shaving down some of that height. And now I'm going to just sketch out the stripes. So I have 4 white stripes and 3 red stripes. So the red is right in the middle, that's that first one. Here's that middle red stripe. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 already. And then I'm just going to mimic that with 3 more lines. with a quick snap of my fingers, I'm going to fix those lines. There we go. Alright, so now I'm going to start with the blue first. We're going to go with blue, then red, then white in all of our colors. And once again, all of these may require you to do a couple of layers. I'll probably do the first or second layers on camera, and then the rest I'll just do off just to save some time. So right now for the ribbon, I'm kind of going for the look of a little bit of a shadow on the left side, and it gets a little bit lighter on the right side. So when you add white to this blue in particular, the one that I'm using, the white overpowers the blue so much. So I really need to let this one dry a bit. So for this, I will be doing a couple layers, some of them off camera. So it definitely does not look as light as this once I am done with it, but I'm just not trying to waste the paint. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to go over it again with just a regular blue. I still found that to be a little bit light, so I'm not really going to use that one too much. I'm going to go back in with my cobalt blue, and then just to make it a little bit of a shadowy effect and a little bit dark, I will add the black. But if you don't want to, you just want to make it bright blue, that's totally fine. So I'm letting the ribbon of the blue of the hat dry. So I'm just kind of moving on to the arms and legs, the hands and feet, if you will. So I'm once again on a certain side of the roundness. I'm making it a little bit darker, a little bit lighter. And then for this ribbon right here, I'm making the left side a little bit darker, the right side a little bit lighter. So I'm just going to do that to my liking. And if you want to change the colors, I mean, I guess you can. This is supposed to be red, white, and blue, patriotic for 4th of July, but if you want to do a different gnome for a different holiday or just for whatever you want, by all means do it. I probably will add a little bit of glitter at the very, very end after I varnish this in a couple weeks or so, just because glitter makes everything fun, in my opinion. Alright, so we're just going to work on the blue, and after we are happy with the blue, we will work on the red. Alrighty, now that the blue is dry, we're going to go ahead and move on to the red. So we're going to do that brim of the hat, the body of the gnome, and then we're going to start on the 3 stripes of the hat. So right now, as you can see, this red my red in particular is pretty translucent, very transparent against the black background. So that's why I mentioned if you wanted to do white, you're like paint around what you drew so you don't have to do so many layers. This is why. But that's okay. I'll just do many layers, probably like 2 or 3 layers, and those ones will be off camera. So basically, to describe what I'm doing here, first of all, I just want to make it nice and opaque, nice and solid for my red. But eventually I will add a little bit of a shadow towards the bottom of the brim, and particularly around the nose, and that's just to give the illusion that the nose is protruding and there's a little bit of a shadow behind the nose. So I'm going to work on that, and same thing with the body. I'm going to just paint it as solid red as possible, and to give the illusion that there is some shadow behind the beard, I will add a little bit of darkness towards the middle, like underneath the beard. So keep a lookout for that. That's what I'll be doing. And then now I am working on the 3 stripes of the hat. So with this, I'm making it just as solid red as possible, and then just to give the illusion that it is a top hat and it's more narrow at the base of the hat, I'm just going to do a little bit of a shadow as it gets close to that blue ribbon part. So that's what we're doing. I'm just going to sit back and let you enjoy the music and add those shadows when I'm adding my shadows. So I'm doing it right now. Might require you a couple layers, but don't get frustrated if you don't want to add these shadows, just want to make it completely dark. That is totally fine too. Alright, I'll check back in when we are ready to work on the white. Alright, so now we are ready to add the white. Once we add the white and the nose, it'll really come together. So first, we're just going to work on the beard. So with the beard, to paint hair or fur is a little difficult. I'm not the best at it, so I will try to describe what I'm doing as best as I can. So I'm going to do a couple layers, like quite a few layers of this white, and that's just because, as you can see here, I'm putting down some paint, but I'm missing a few spots, and that's totally okay. All we have to do is just do one layer, let it dry, do another layer, let it dry, etc., etc. However, if we do that and simply we're just using white, we're basically just going to make one solid color for the beard, and that's not what it is. There are shadows. Some hair is lying on top of the other, so we will add in some gray and then some white and then some gray and then go back and forth. So I'm going to let my first layer of my beard dry. In the meantime, I am working on the 4 stripes of the hat right now. So with one of my small or medium flat brushes, I'm just going to go against these stripes as close as I can. And don't worry, I will add some of that space in between these stripes. I will outline what I can in black just to clean it up and make it look as nice as possible. So like how we did the shadow of the red, right here with the white, the black kind of peeks through already, and I kind of really like how that looks. So I'm not doing many layers of white at all, probably just one to be honest, and letting the black peek through a little bit. So I'm going to work on the stripes right now as I let my beard dry, and after my beard we'll go in with a little bit of gray. Okay, so just as I mentioned with the beard, because there are layers and shadows, we're going to go in with a gray layer. So already with the gray, you can see how the illusion that the hair that is more so up front is highlighted in the regular white. So right now we're doing the background. So I'm going in with some gray, and then with some fresh white paint, I'm going to go in with the white. And I'm using one of my medium flat brushes and just kind of just doing some long brush strokes, just trying to go in with that same angle of the beard that we originally sketched out. So this might require you to do a couple layers of the gray and the white and the gray and the white. Just do that to your liking. I had to play with it. Unfortunately, with my camera how it is right now, you can't really see all of the details. Like, it's really blown out, so I do apologize for that. You can't really quite see what I'm doing right here, but what I described to you, that is what I'm doing, so just trust me in the process, I guess. So we're going in with the gray and then the white. Alright, so I did a couple layers off camera. This is how I liked it. So now we are moving on to the nose. So I already have a pre-made little like peachy color for the nose. If you don't have those colors, you can mix it with some of the red and yellow that we already have, then white. And this is a good base coat for me, but I will go ahead and make it a little bit more pink. So I'm going to get that color and with red, just make it a little bit more pink. I'm not going to paint it completely solid. It's going to be more of that peachy color on top and then more pinky on the bottom. And then we are going to just do a nice little highlight of the nose right on top. Before I forget, after we do this step and it's all nice and dry, I'm going to go ahead and outline everything in black as much as I can, and that's just to clean it up a little bit and make it look a little bit more pristine. Alright, our gnome is alive. Yay! So now we are going to first work on the sparkler that the gnome is holding, and then we'll work on the fireworks, and then we'll be done. So off camera, I just got a ruler and sketched out a thin little line that's probably about like 5 inches, and that is for the handle of the sparkler. And I'm going over with that with acrylic paint, and that's just because once I add a varnish on it in a couple weeks, for some odd reason Sharpie and the varnish does not mix, and it literally mixes and will ruin the whole painting. So if you ever use a Sharpie, just be careful of that. So I went ahead and painted the handle black, and now with my thinnest detail brush, I'm first going in with some white and then adding in a little bit of yellow to make it a light yellow. And I'm going to do 4 long points of the sparkler. And then between that, I'm just going to do some little spikes. So not as long, but just basically looking like a bright little star. And between all of those long spikes, I'm just going to do a couple little X's. That's just to help give the illusion that they're very bright, kind of like the little highlight points. And then I'll do some little dashes in between where I don't want complete X's. Alright, so now that everything is dry and I can put my arm all over the painting, it's not going to mess it up, I am going to first, with my thin detail brush and white paint, sketch out how I want the fireworks to go. So this first one is going to be in the top left corner. I just made it a little bit smaller than the original picture because I want to see the whole firework. They're all different shapes. So this one we're just going to call our M&M shape, or hill. So it's kind of just like a bunch of little hills or a bunch of little M's. So first you start off with that X, and then between all of those little spots, just more curved lines. This one we will call the starburst, if you will. So first we have the star, the original star shape, and then between every single window, we're just going to fit in as much of those firework lines as possible. And this one is probably our biggest one. This one will be blue, and this one will be the most full. So in any little spot that I see, I'm just going to add in some lines there, and then once these are dry, after we paint all of them out, we will paint them with the colors. So this one is our flower one, or our starburst one. I don't know what we called it, I already forgot. This is the biggest one, so we're just going to work on that one right now. Okay, so that one was the starburst one. Now this one is the flower one. So this one, we're starting off with our basic flower shape, just a little one and some little lines between. Then we're going to give it a little bit of space. So not like the other one where everything was really close together. This one you can kind of see a little black ring around it. It just needs a little bit of space. So we have our outside petals and our inside petals. So following that same round shape of that inner flower that we did, we're basically just going to do the same thing. Not as many layers as that blue one, but just enough right here. It probably stops right at the brim of the hat. So yeah, that's our lower layer right there. Perfect. And some of my lines, these white ones, and when I paint them, they kind of touch and overlap, and that distracts me personally from the illusion of a perfectly displayed firework. So if you need to go back in with black just to touch it up a little bit and erase some of those lines, definitely you can. All right, so almost done. We're almost done. So these last steps now, this one in the top left corner, since I already have it sketched out, I'm simply just painting it red. I'm not adding any shadows or any highlights on there. I'm just painting them the color that they are. So with these ones, this top left one will be red, the top right one will be blue, and the one right below the red one will be yellow. This, I feel, just goes well with the colors that we already have for the red, white, and blue gnome. But if you already changed it, or you just want to add different color fireworks, or have fireworks that have more than one color in it, you're more than welcome to be creative, and I would totally love to see it. So with our same detail brush, we're basically just going to go over our lines that we already did in the red, white, and yellow. After we complete the yellow one, we're just going to do a nice little trail mark of the firework shooting up and then it exploding. So we're just going to do a nice little squiggle going down. After that one's dry, we'll do a little squiggle of the blue going down, and then we'll be done. And that is it, my friends. Good job if you made it this far and completed the painting. I'm happy with my finished product, and I hope you are with yours too. If your painting looks different from mine, that is totally fine. If you followed along and completed the painting or went on a creative adventure of your own, please feel free to share your artwork with us. We'd love to see it. Email address can be found on the link in the description box below. As you know, I have missed every single one of my Family Friday participants, and it has been an absolute joy to see you all. There are some I have yet to see, so please sign up for future class. I'm happy to know that more people did indeed have the chance and opportunity to do art safely at home and on their own time during this temporary shutdown. It has been such a delight to meet so many new participants in these in-person sessions, and thank you for the positive feedback on my videos. I hope these videos brought you joy and you were able to relax and not worry about the current events of the world, even just for a little bit. Keep an eye out for a new calendar, announcements, and instructions on how to register for upcoming in-person workshops. Please stay safe, have a great rest of your weekend and holiday, and I'll see you soon.